What a wonderful performance, a rendition of Diễm Xưa, a very famous song by our late composer Trịnh Công Sơn, with dance move and instrumental music. Thank you, Alexander Tu and the team, the lyricists. Good job, guys. Thank you so much. I mean, Alex, how on earth did you come up with the idea of bringing a new life to this wonderful song by composer Trịnh Công Sơn?
Yeah, you know, when I came back to Vietnam, my purpose was to understand more about the culture.
Yeah.
And when I learned about Diễm Xưa and I learned about the late great Trịnh Công Sơn, I knew I wanted to create a dance on this song. And so with the lyricist and I, we developed choreography, and our purpose here is to take, through the performing arts, bring Vietnam to the world. The song has so much meaning, has so much cultural understanding and popularity, and so why not take something that has so much significance in Vietnamese history and culture and bring it out and share it to the world.
Great. Good luck with that.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you so much.
So Alex's dream is to not just bringing the world to Vietnam, but also bringing Vietnam to the world by dance and music. And he's our featured guest today for Talk Vietnam, and we're going to find out how he has been realizing his dream and what motivates him to keep it going. But first, let's find out who is Alexander Tu.
Born and raised in the US, Alexander Tu is a choreographer and dancer with over 18 years of experience. Starting as a dancer in Cabin Modern, Alexander Tu soon became the executive director for the group, bringing them to win several international dance awards such as Vibe, Hip Hop International, and Body Rock. Cabin Modern family was represented on MTV's America's Best Dance Crew Season 1, making it to top 3. In 2013, Alex came back to Vietnam and took part in many dancing activities. Recently, he has co-founded Soul Dance together with Thanh Bùi with a wish to contribute to dance education in Vietnam. Along with dance, Alex has received his master's degree in occupational therapy at Loma Linda University, California. His specific areas of practice has been pediatrics and geriatrics.
Alex, I can't believe you are a trained doctor in occupational therapy. Yeah. So Dr. Alex, how did you choose that path in the first place?
Growing up, any Asian family, my parents always wanted me to become a doctor, an MD, and a medical doctor. But I just never wanted to be in school for so long. But I always knew that being in the medical field somewhere and health field, that you can help people, and that's what has always been a part of my life, was to have this compassion to help people. And so I found occupational therapy, and it just seemed very fitting to my personality and my purpose of wanting to help people. And so I got into the master's program, occupational therapy, and most recently I got my doctorate in occupational therapy. And you know, therapy, that was always, you know, going through school was ultimately you wanted to get your highest degree possible. And with that degree, you have your career. And so my choice was career in health. Yeah. And that's how I got into occupational therapy.
I'm just curious, could you explain what does it mean by occupational therapy?
Yeah, so this is because the field, the profession has been around for quite some time, but something that people commonly relate it to is physical therapy. But I also want to kind of group us with speech therapists as well, because the three professions work hand in hand together. But just some differences between physical therapy and occupational therapy. The word occupation here is about occupational life, what brings people purpose and meaning. So the activities that you and I do every day, that just brings us that meaning. So for instance, something that makes me feel independent is to be able to take a shower, to be able to brush my own teeth, to be able to go out and work, to drive. That brings me meaning. And so as an occupational therapist, if someone goes through some kind of physical dysfunction, and our job is to help them through the use of their occupation to motivate them to recover and get back to their life. And so that's the difference between occupational therapy and physical therapy.
Does it have a relation to dance?
So occupational therapy, in some of my therapy sessions, I've utilized dance because dance can be a meaningful occupation or a meaningful activity for my clients or my patients. So there was when I was working at Children's Hospital Los Angeles at the time, one of the therapists had their students had me work with their patient who was a 17-year-old. He was in the hospital because he hurt his spine. He injured his spine playing football, and so part of his body was partially paralyzed. But one thing that motivated him was that he wanted to dance at his school dance, his prom, and he wanted to be able to take his date. And so, because that's the thing that brings him motivation. So we actually put on music, and then we would work on his affective side, what we call affective side. So the side that was weaker, we would practice movements that he would incorporate both sides. It was still his strengthening. It was still a therapeutic activity, and it still brought him meaning. So we did like locking. We did a lot of locking. We did some urban choreography. Everything to make him move the affective side. He worked on balance through dance, and then he chose the music that motivated him. So that's the idea of occupational therapy.
That could help.
Yeah.
At the age of 12, you were inspired to become a dancer in the group. Tell me about that moment that changed your life.
Yeah, right around the age of 12, home with my cousin and my brother, my older brother, he came home from school and he's like, hey, I want to show you some movements, these dance steps. And being the older brother and being the younger brother, I always just listened to him. So whatever he said, I would do. And so I practiced these steps. And then and the steps are considered house dance steps. And I just felt like it just clicked with me right away. I knew that I just liked it. This is for me. For some reason, I didn't know why. Before, my brother would introduce like sports, basketball, football, tennis. But for some reason, those steps that he taught me made me, like I found my passion. Okay. Something that I wanted to learn, something that I want to be involved in and participate with. And so at the age of 12, whatever I learned, I shared with some of my friends, and we started a little breakdancing crew. We were B-boys at the age of 12, 13. And then it turned out to be fun because then we would perform at school dances or perform at school. And so it brought more recognition to us, more popularity. But that wasn't the reason why we did it. It's just something that I really enjoyed doing.
Yeah, but you still have to learn to become a doctor at the same time.
Yeah, so for me, it was, academically, my path was health field. I had to get my master's. I had to get my doctorate in occupational therapy. So that path was clear to me. But at the same time, my passion had its path, and that was to continue to learn dance. And it all started with breakdancing. And then from there, it turned into urban choreography, being part of a team, leading the team, leading the professional team, and then somehow make my way back to Vietnam.
So why did you come back to Vietnam at that time? And is that something that really changed your career as a dancer?
When I was working as a therapist, there's moments when I felt like I need to understand my culture more. And so that's what really drew me back to Vietnam. That was the first thing that I wanted was, I call myself Vietnamese American, but I feel my American culture was much more, it outweighed my Vietnamese culture. And so I felt like I needed to balance that out.
Sure.
And so I wanted to come back to Vietnam, and one thing to understand culture is to understand language. And so that was the thing that I wanted to do from the very beginning, was learn Vietnamese language.
Okay.
And then when I was here, I did a few projects again, choreographed for a few different singers. But then that led me to opportunity to choreograph for Mang Việt Nam, which is a stage show. And that's where I really got to work with dancers. And I got to work with, and that's where I met Tan Bui. He was a music director for that show. And he invited me over to Seoul Music Performing Arts Academy. And at the time, it was only the music department. and he shared with me his story and the vision for the academy.
It's opened another opportunity for you.
And that opened up another opportunity where, through the performing arts, we can provide dance education for children in Vietnam. And so again, once I'm thinking dance as an occupation for children, dance is an opportunity for children to develop well-roundedly, and not to become a dancer, not to become a backup dancer. Dance is really like how I use dance was for me to become a leader, to learn about how to work with other people better, how to understand different perspectives. And that's how I see dance.
Missing You was a product that marks the first steps of Alex Tu's artistic path in Vietnam. The MV Missing You was also the first combination of Alex Tu and Thanh Bùi, so it had a special meaning for both. Thanh Bùi considered Alex Tu as a friend and a colleague to have common shares together.
So Alex, or I have to call him Dr. Alex, I met him on a show, Mang Việt Nam. So he came over, I saw him work with one of my students in Opus, and I was blown away because what I felt from Alex was passion. What I felt from Alex was a want to give back to kids and to want to share his passion of dance. And see, Alex is not just an incredible dancer. I always say to him, it's like when he dances, it's magic to me. It's like he makes something so difficult look so easy. It's like, but the way he's able to teach, I thought, inspired my student.
And then Alex has co-founded Soul Dance together with Thanh Bùi. As a director of Soul Dance, the movement part of Soul Music Academy.
So beautiful. Yes. You guys ready?
Alex has created the curriculum and aims to raise the dance education in Vietnam. This is a training class for those who want to be teachers with professional skills.
Cái điều mình thích nhất trong lớp của thầy Alex Tú là thầy rất là tận tình và chỉ dẫn từng bạn. Có những lúc mà bài tập nó học rất là nhiều, bởi vì bọn mình phải học nhớ hết tất cả các tên cơ và xương của nguyên một cái cơ thể con người, thì nhiều khi là bọn mình không thể nào mà nhớ được, mà thầy vẫn rất là kiên nhẫn, và thầy ngày nào thầy cũng ôn bài lại cho bọn mình, quan tâm và chu đáo, lúc nào cũng hỏi thăm các học viên và theo dõi cái quá trình tiến bộ trong học tập của từng bạn.
Lớn nhất đó là cảm ơn anh, cảm ơn vì tất cả những thứ mà anh đã truyền dạy cho tụi em. Đó không phải là những cái kiến thức bình thường, không, đó chính là những cái kiến thức mà có thể ở đâu đó em không thể học được. Em cảm ơn.
When did you realize that mission of bringing the world back to Vietnam?
I think that was pretty clear when I started my first project. That, you know, some of your ability to choreograph, for instance, is something that I've experienced where I'm from. And so why not share that with the young generation of dancers that are hungry, that are passionate, and they have talent, but they don't have the opportunity that I've had. And so when I had the opportunity to work with some of these dancers, young dancers, so good, I felt like, okay, this is where bringing the world back to Vietnam will give this opportunity for them, the generation of dancers, to grow.
Yeah.
And then working with a generation of dancers through the performing arts, develop artistry, creativity, using Vietnamese music, but utilizing modern, influential dance and using that to bring it out to the world. And that's how people will know more about Vietnam. Because being in Vietnam, I felt like, well, Vietnam is so beautiful. The culture is so beautiful. But not too many people know about it. And I think Vietnamese culture and history, you know, the rest of the world knows only one thing, is that war.
Yeah.
You know, the war was so, it was heavy on people's heart because it was so devastating. But I don't want people to just know Vietnam as a war. I want people to know that, wow, we have a generation of dancers coming up that I want people to see them. They're just as good as anyone else. It's just they don't have the platform to do it on. And so that's when I had this understanding of, hey, bring the world back to Vietnam, help it develop, you know, make sure that there's value, there's culture, there's integrity, and then from there, Vietnam can go out to the world and showcase.
Alex Tu also guides a young lyricist as a special dance group consisting of talented youth with a passion for dance and performing arts, who are professionally trained with the Imperial Society of Teachers of Dancing's curriculum and standards, aiming to bring Vietnamese traditional culture and beauty to the world. Under the guidance of Alexander Tu, a young lyricist dance group was the only representative throughout Asia to be selected to attend Dance Prom 2017.
Great opportunity. Have fun. Okay, be good. As Viet Nam represent. Okay. All young lyricists on 3. 5, 6, 7, 8.
Dance Prom, launched in 2011, is a collaborative project between two of the world's leading dance training and awarding bodies, the Imperial Society of Teachers of Dancing and the Royal Academy of Dance, with the Royal Albert Hall.
Mình là Việt Nam, duy nhất mình Việt Nam đi ở đây là thấy mình tự hào rồi đúng không? Cố làm hết sức đi, bài tụi mình hay mà, rõ ràng. Làm đi. Cố lên, let's outshine.
So be confident,
outshine.
shine. Show everyone what we're all about, okay?
The group used Áo Dài, the quintessence of sounds and movements from Vietnam, in harmony with the spirit of international dance. This was a unique beauty that Alexander Tu and the young lyricists wanted to introduce to friends in the world at Dance Prom 2017.
Specifically, dance education, how important is dance education in the life of a child?
I would say dance education has so many different elements to it that not a lot of people have a chance to understand. But once you understand it, you see how it helps a child grow well-roundedly. I actually did my doctoral thesis here in Vietnam, and it was called The Impact of Dance on Vietnamese Children. And I used this technique called photo voice. And the idea here was to understand how dance affected children. And this is interviews with both parents and students. And the 3 elements that I gained from that, and I think this would give kind of concrete information to the audience, is that 1, creativity allows a child to understand their potential. Because when you have to create something that you've never done, it pushes you. And then you understand that, wow, I can do it. And I think that moment for a child is impactful. Secondly was connection. When you work in a group, you learn connection, and when you know that the rest of your life you work, everywhere you work is about connecting with others. When you learn others' perspectives, you understand that this perspective is different from this perspective, and then you have to be aware and appreciate it. And then lastly, well-being. Of course, dance is physical, but it's also mental. It brings mental health to an aspect of a child, right? They get to release stress. That moment of dancing allows them to minimize, if any, depression. And so those are the things those 3 elements I found in my research that are concrete evidence to share with parents that these are things that help a child grow.
Wow. So if a child take dance education, he would grow up differently.
Yeah, I truly believe that. And
Okay.
I think I'm a product of that. But I know just not me saying it or me modeling it, but I felt like through research, it should emphasize that. And so luckily through my research, these are the data that I got.
Nguyễn Mạnh Tuấn is one of the members of the Lyricists. He joined the crew in 2015, and he thinks that this was a turning point of his life.
Mà mình năm lớp 11, lớp 12 là mình đã có bí mật, mình tìm một bác sĩ tâm lý. Mà mẹ mình không hề biết cái chuyện đấy, thì tự là mình không chịu nổi cái khoảng thời gian đó, là mình không chịu nổi và cái cảm giác mà bác sĩ đưa cho mình một lọ thuốc, thì gọi là lọ thuốc trị trầm cảm, nhưng mà mình cảm thấy thuốc đó uống cho vui, cũng không sao, kiểu như nó thiên về mặt tinh thần nhiều hơn, kiểu mình cảm thấy uống xong mình cũng chẳng đỡ hơn tí nào. Thì nhưng mình cảm thấy lúc đó là mình bế tắc và mình không kể với ai được cả. Thì sau đó mình lại nhớ tới nhảy, và thực sự là mình không thể nói gì bằng lời được, chỉ có nhảy nó giúp mình truyền tải mọi thứ. Bắt đầu mình tìm tòi trên YouTube về bất cứ cái nguồn nào mình học lỏm được đấy, thì thật sự mình thích, nhưng mà mình không biết là mình đang làm cái gì, kiểu cái động tác đó tên gì, rồi nó từ đâu ra. Thì chính Alex là người giúp mình cái đấy. Thì Alex không chỉ là giúp mình về kỹ thuật, nhưng mà còn nói rất là nhiều về lịch sử. Thì cũng nhờ đó mà mình biết thêm nhiều hơn, và mình cảm thấy trân trọng gì mình đang có. Tới 2015 mình gặp Alex, thì cuộc đời mình nó tạm gọi là nở hoa. Nhờ có ảnh mà mình mới có được ngày hôm nay.
In the previous clip, we have seen that how dance can bring miracles with Tuấn, one of your students. Yeah. Tell me your process of making that happen.
Tuấn was a student of mine in the teacher development training. Tuấn was also a member of my dance team, and Tuấn was someone that I not only trained, he wasn't only my student, but we also collaborate a lot together. And then, as you know, Tuấn, he does show some characteristics of autism. Tuấn is someone that is very not social.
Okay.
But through the arts, through performance, through choreographing, that's where he shines the most. That's where he's most expressive. When we first met, his ability to interact was very limited. But you know, when you give him a chance to stand on stage, when you give him a chance to listen to music and dance, he's a total different person.
Wow.
And those are the moments that you want for a child. Yes, not all the time in your daily life, a child's daily life. Let's say like they go to school, it might not make them feel at ease.
Wow.
And so they will react a different way. But in this situation, Tuấn reacts in a very purposeful way when he's listening to music and dancing. And so for this case, for him, that's how dancing has helped him.
I know you're also doing a PhD on the topic of positive impact of dance to the growth of children.
Yeah.
I mean, what motivated you to do that, and what have you found out?
So when I was in my doctoral program, one of the things that I shared with my professor, who was the faculty that supervised the thesis, we just knew that dance was my occupation. Like dance was what brings me meaning. And so I wanted to see how dance was meaningful and how dance is perceived for children in Vietnam.
Yep.
Because I was living here at the time. And so why not enter that area of study by what I'm passionate about, what I'm doing professionally, and then what I'm doing as a doctoral student. And so that's why we wanted to take on this subject matter, so that we can understand a little bit more about how dance can impact children in Vietnam.
So for the occupational therapy, it really could help the dancer as well in their career, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as a dancer, and how they would utilize occupational therapy, things as technique on how to stretch, technique on strengthening, keeping muscle tone. If they're having some movement dysfunction, an occupational therapist can assess and help provide techniques or strategies, approaches to fix some of their movement patterns, for instance. So like, again, my example of scapula, moving your scapula or with your humerus, that takes technique. The timing might be off. And let's say you're doing a movement with your hand and you feel pain in your shoulder. So an occupational therapist can help a dancer in that regard.
In August 2019, the final round of the Super 24 Season 8 was held at Singapore Sports Hub, OCBC Arena. Super 24 has brought a new dimension to dance competitions. With the increase in popularity and development of dance groups, this competition was not only a new dance platform, but also a program to emphasize artistry, raise standards, and build community with 1,700 dancers from many countries in Asia. Lyricists made a strong impression on the judges of Super 24 and dance community in the area, with a special performance carrying the message of Be Yourself, becoming the first Vietnamese dance crew to win the ASEAN Open Championship of Super 24.
The lyricists had been working so hard and took part in many competitions before when nobody knows who the lyricist is. Right. How about the process of winning a competition, international competition?
Yeah, the process it's a journey. Again, when I decided to develop the lyricist, it was never a shortcut to anything, and I never expected that overnight we will win. Because of my experience on Cabo Modern, because of my experience directing a professional dance company, I knew that when I met these guys, they had the passion, they had the dedication and loyalty. And so when I developed this dance crew, I knew that I'm gonna give each year its own goals. And so our fourth year, our senior year, I knew that, okay, I think our members have not only the talent, they've already built the skills and techniques, now we have the maturity, we have the mindset, and there's a vision. And once you have those elements together, then you can do anything. And so when we stand on that international stage, when we competed at Super 24 in Singapore in the Asian Championship, you know, as a leader, you don't force the we have to win mentality. I forced the mentality of no regrets and representing your country to the fullest and representing who we are to the fullest. And then that's what happened. The students, our members got on stage and they just put everything all out onto the stage.
Some of your team members, before the final showdown of the competition, they collapsed because of injury. I mean, what carried them throughout the whole championship and still make it to the end?
The format of Super 24, it keeps you on your toes. It keeps you on the edge of your seat, so your adrenaline is always rushing. But yes, the first round, one of our members had a back issue. So from that moment when he got off stage to the moment that we knew we were going to be in the final round, just rest. Rest his back, keep it loose, so that, and then as the competition moves forward, you know where you're ranked. So we were still ranked number 1 for however many teams that performed. And so when it came close to the final round, when you know you're about to perform, your adrenaline picks up. And so adrenaline is almost like a painkiller, and it helped his back.
At that time,
he
got
knew
some motivation.
Motivation. And he knew this is the only time, this is the only opportunity. No regret. You're not going to let your back injury.
You don't feel pain anymore.
Just like a lot
with
of
that
like,
opportunity.
yeah, sports athletes, MMA fighters, they work through their injury because this is one chance.
Wow. With that championship, then what image of Vietnam did you bring to the world at that time, the Super 24?
Yeah, no, great moment for us to bring Vietnam out to the world. I think what I wanted everyone to see was that those 24 members, that's the face of Vietnam. This is the next generation of young, eager people of Vietnam that wants to make a change. You know, they want to showcase dance in this new form and show to the world that we're Vietnamese. We're not Vietnamese American, we're not Vietnamese Canadian, we're not Vietnamese European.
Vietnamese.
We're Vietnamese. And that was amazing to see. And that's what I want people to know.
In 2017, the show of designer Trịnh Hoàng Diệu brought to the stage the traditional cultural beauty of Vietnamese outside. Alexander Tu's performance was one of the most impressive, with a unique combination of contemporary dance on the background of Diễm Sư music by late musician Trịnh Công Sơn. Alex Tu and his crew danced gracefully in áo dài.
Chúc tình mời dẫn đã thiên thành. Từ nay anh đã có nàng, biết ơn sông nữ đã đền để cho.
Tôi rất ngạc nhiên khi thấy nhóm nhảy của Alex nhảy bài Diễm Xưa rất hay. Đặc biệt là trong cái nhảy đương đài đó lại mặc áo dài Việt Nam của chị tôi là chị Diệu. Rất uyển chuyển, rất hay, rất mới lạ.
Alex Tu has been married to Liz Nguyễn for more than 2 years.
Chào đại chiến, chào bà ngoại.
Chào bà ngoại. Hello, hello.
And now they have a cute son, and the connection of Alex Tu and the musician Trịnh Công Sơn family has become closer than ever. When he has free time, Alex Tu often visits his mother-in-law Trịnh Hoàng Diệu and aunt Trịnh Vĩnh Trinh.
Mình làm chương trình của cậu Sơn, nhưng mà năm nay con phải suy nghĩ thật nhiều.
Cái năm đó thì là ai là làm đạo diễn nhỉ?
Bây giờ mình chưa nghĩ.
ủng hộ cái đạo diễn đó được.
Thì chắc con phải vào phù rồi đó.
Thường con cái event con hay mặc thì mẹ làm cái màu đen coi con đi event.
Đầu tiên là Alex rất thích mặc áo dài và rất hạnh diện khi khoác trên người chiếc áo dài Việt Nam. Lúc đầu thì tưởng là rằng là áo dài rất khó nhảy, nhưng mà khi áo dài của tôi làm là áo dài Việt Nam mà truyền thống xưa, áo dài rất rộng, khi đưa vào để mà nhảy thì uyển chuyển và rất là phù hợp. Khi mà thấy Alex và cùng với các em ở trong nhóm nhảy mặc áo dài lên sân khấu nhảy uyển chuyển và đẹp và làm cho tôi xúc động vô cùng.
What seemed to be the most difficult thing about the process of combining your dance move with Trịnh Công Sơn music? Because you said it's very different from what you have done before.
Yeah.
So what would be the most difficult thing for you?
Nothing was very difficult in the sense that when you choreograph anything, you're going to go through this process.
Find a way.
You go through a process of, okay, let's try this move. Yeah. Does it match the melody? Does it highlight the feel, the essence of the song? You go through that. And so when I heard Diễm Sư, the only pressure, the only challenge was that it's Trịnh Công Sơn music. This song is well known to the whole country. Don't mess up.
The shadow is too big.
Right. Don't mess up, right?
Don't mess up.
Create something that is artistic, create something that can highlight the melody, highlight the words, even though there's no words. And so that was part of the challenge, but as an artist, you always want to take on that challenge. And so, yeah, that's the process of it.
What messages do you want to deliver through that performance?
what I wanted to showcase was that you can create, dance doesn't have to be so black and white. It doesn't have to be what kind of dance you learn, hip hop, jazz, ballet. I wanted to show that, hey, this is my time as an artist, and we can create utilizing movement with anything. You don't have to be a hip hop dancer to only dance to hip hop music. And don't think yourself as a dancer and you limit yourself. Think of yourself as an artist, and that you're an artist that creates on different things. So I always want people to know that the canvas is always white, and then you put the color to it. And you can put the color however you want it, however way you want it. You can either stroke it with your brush, or you splatter it. But there's always many different ways of doing it.
Sure. So after Trịnh Công Sơn music, any other plan on the next creative experiment for you?
Yes, many things. I don't know if I should share, but many
Like
things.
a little secret.
I mean, I still want to create with Ao Yai.
Nice.
Of course, Trịnh Công
I
Sơn.
saw you wear Ao Yai on the performance with
Yeah.
Trịnh Công Sơn as well.
Right.
So that's something intentional.
Something intentional. To be able to not just dance with a button-up shirt or a blazer, but utilize something that's significant in Vietnam and highlight it through
the
movement.
symbol of Vietnam.
Yeah.
Ao Yai. So how did Vietnam change you after many years coming back here? Now you settled down with kids. Tell me about your family, man.
Yeah, so I am married. I am married to the niece of Trịnh Công Sơn.
Oh, okay.
Her name is
That's
Liz.
excellent, yeah.
Yes, and then we have a son now. He's 10 months old. And so Vietnam changed me because I have a family. I'm married and I have a
That's
family.
very important.
Right,
Yep.
super
Good
important.
family. Yep.
And then secondly, now what else has changed me? My Vietnamese is much better than when it was when I was in the States.
That's good.
So, because I have to. I mean, one way to communicate with people is I have to communicate through Vietnamese. I can't just get through by speaking English. Understanding some of the cultural elements, those are very significant to me. And then being able to continue building this art form.
Nice. Yeah. So what's the plan now for the future in terms of your occupational therapy and your dance education and dance community?
Yeah. So continuing my plans now is advocating for the profession here through dance. So we have a plan to build a few dance classes at some of the orphanage or compassion house, so that give those children opportunity to learn dance more consistently. Provide them opportunity so that they can perform. So there's utilizing occupational therapy and dance together at these places and building well-being through dance.
Sure.
My other plan is getting the lyricists to continue creating on many different things to push their artistry, push their creativity. And then getting out in the community. And then along with soul, along with lyricists, we were developing a campaign called Let's Dance Vietnam.
Let's Dance Vietnam.
Yeah. The reason for developing Let's Dance Vietnam is because through my research, some of the data that I found, my needs assessment of the country, is that with Vietnam being a developing country with Western influences, children are becoming, their weight is beginning to change. Obesity is in the picture now. Being overweight is in the picture now because of fast food industry.
Sure.
And so I want to use dance as a way to prevention.
Yeah.
And that's an
good
occupational
exercise too. Yeah.
Right. That's an occupational
Everybody
therapy.
can do it.
Yeah, that's an occupational therapy perspective.
Yeah.
And then as a dancer, artist, choreographer, to get people to move. And so that's the idea of Let's Dance Vietnam. We want to get out in the community. We want everyone dancing. We want to create a viral movement so that everyone can do together so that the whole country moves.
Awesome. Let's Dance Vietnam.
Let's Dance
Thank you
Vietnam.
so much for sharing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
man.
Appreciate it. Good luck. Well, that's the story of Alexander Tu, Let's Dance Vietnam, a Vietnamese American who came back here to settle down, and now he gave it back to the community by providing dance classes to many, many communities. And I hope that Vietnamese parents would realize the importance of dance education in the growth of the children. So in the future, maybe they can bring Vietnam to the world. So that's it for Talk Vietnam today. My name is Quốc Khánh, and I hope to see you next time.